The desperate search begins. The night was cold on the ruined colony world of Sethira 9. The sky had no stars, only clouds and ash floating above the shattered buildings. Wind howled through broken walls. It sounded like crying. She walked slowly, her legs weak, her skin pale and cracked under the cold. Her eyes searched the dark with one name on her lips. Lero. The alien mother had come alone. Her robe was torn, her hands were shaking, but she didn't stop. Every few steps she called again, "Lero?" There was no answer. Far away on the edge of the old city, a human engineer named Jace was fixing a broken signal tower. He had taken this job for peace. After the war, he wanted silence. No soldiers, no blood, only machines. But that night, the silence broke. He heard something strange through the static in his headset. Not a signal. A voice. Crying? No. Calling. He removed his headset and stood up. Then he heard it again. Soft, broken, far away. Lero. Jace frowned. He looked through his visor, scanning the terrain. The ruins stretched for miles, dark and cold. He shouldn't get involved. His contract was clear: stay out of alien business. But something inside him said different. He grabbed his light and walked toward the sound. The alien mother had reached the center of the ruins now. A collapsed dome lay ahead. Once a library, maybe. She climbed carefully. Her foot slipped on a loose stone and she fell with a cry. Her body hit the cold ground hard. She didn't move for a moment. Then slowly she turned and pulled herself up. Her knees bled. Her hands trembled. But again she whispered, "Lero." Behind her, a small shadow moved, something watching from the dark. She didn't notice. Jace stepped over a fallen beam and entered the ruined plaza. He saw the trail, small footprints, dust-disturbed, fresh. Then, he saw her. She was on her knees, drawing something in the dust with her finger. He raised his hand and called gently, "Hey, are you all right?" She turned quickly, eyes wide with fear. She stood and raised her arm. A soft blue light formed at her wrist, a defense shield. "Wait. I'm not here to hurt you," Jace said calmly, hands up. "I heard your voice. I came to help." She didn't speak, but her eyes stayed locked on his. He looked down at what she had drawn. A child's face. "That your son?" he asked softly. She nodded once. "What's his name?" She hesitated, then spoke in a soft, musical voice. "Lero." Jace knelt. "All right, Lero. Let's find him." She lowered her shield. The wind grew stronger. Ash danced in the air. Jace offered her a heat patch and wrapped it around her shoulders. She was shaking, not from fear, but from exhaustion. They walked side by side through the ruins. Jace scanned the area with his device. No life signs. But there was something, a faint energy pulse in the east sector. "You know which way he went?" Jace asked. She pointed toward the pulse. They climbed through twisted metal and broken glass. Jace kept watch. She whispered her son's name again and again. It hurt him to hear. This was more than a search. It was survival. They reached an old marketplace. Part of it had collapsed and there were burn marks on the walls, signs of battle. Jace stopped. In the middle of the dust he saw something small, a torn cloth with a child's symbol, a star. He picked it up and held it out to her. Her hands shook as she grabbed it. She brought it to her face, closed her eyes, and whispered something Jace couldn't understand. Then suddenly she turned her head, fast. "What is it?" Jace asked. She pointed behind them. A shape had moved, a figure in the dark. "Run," she whispered. They ran. They didn't stop until they reached an old storage hall. Jace sealed the door behind them and turned on a soft light. They were both breathing hard. She slid down the wall, clutching the cloth. Her eyes were wet. Jace sat across from her, watching. She looked at him. "Why?" she asked softly. "Why did I help?" he replied. Because I saw a mother looking for her child. I couldn't walk away. She looked down. He smiled, then said, "We'll find him." She didn't smile, but she nodded. Outside, something moved in the dark again. The tracks in the dust. The night grew colder as silence returned to the ruins. But for Jace and the alien mother, there was no rest. The child, Lero, was still out there. Every second mattered. Inside the old storage hall, Jace checked his scanner again. A weak signal blinked on the edge of the map. It came from the outer district, old broken comms. It wasn't strong, but it was steady. Something or someone was still alive. The alien mother sat near a cracked wall, holding her son's torn cloth. She didn't sleep. Her eyes were open, always watching. She was ready to move the second Jace said the word. He looked at her and said gently, "There's a signal. It might be him." She stood at once, no hesitation. She walked to the door and waited. Her body still looked weak, but her eyes burned with purpose. They stepped out into the dust again. The wind had calmed. The ash now settled in thin, soft layers. Jace scanned the ground. Then he saw it. Tracks, not old, small feet. "Lero's?" He pointed. The mother nodded quickly. "Lero." They followed the footprints. But something was wrong. The tracks weren't alone. Next to them, deeper marks. Larger. Sharper. Claws. Jace stopped, his voice low. He wasn't alone. The mother froze. Her breathing slowed. Her eyes followed the trail like a hunter. They moved fast now, crossing the broken path into the outer buildings. As they moved, deeper, the walls around them changed. Burned markings, old alien scripts, some broken, some glowing. They were entering old war ground. Jace remembered this place. Years ago, this zone was full of traps, left behind by both sides, and not all of them were dead. The footprints led them to a fallen transport ship, half buried in sand and metal. Jace scanned the area. His device beeped once. Life form detected. Very weak, very small. Inside. The mother rushed forward, but Jace grabbed her arm. "Wait." She turned to him, confused. He stepped carefully toward the ship's cracked door. His light caught wires, trip sensors blinking softly. "A trap," he whispered. Jace reached into his bag, pulled out a signal disruptor, and activated it. One by one, the blinking lights faded. Then slowly he pushed the door open. Inside, the ship was a mess. Black walls, smoke stains, torn chairs. Jace moved quickly, eyes scanning. The signal was near, very near. He turned a corner and stopped. Blood. Small droplets. Not human. He knelt, still fresh. Then he heard a small noise, a weak sound, like breathing. He turned fast and found a nest of blankets and metal behind the pilot seat. Something was moving inside. He signaled the mother. She rushed in, saw the nest and cried, "Lero." She ran forward and pulled the blanket, but it was empty. Only the child's scarf remained. She fell back, her face in shock. Then she screamed. Jace pulled her back. "He's close, that means someone took him." Outside in the shadow of the ruins, something moved. A figure. Watching. A mask covered its face, a long rifle in its hand. It tapped its comm. "The boy is bait, and they're coming." Back in the broken ship, Jace checked the scanner again. The signal had changed. Now it was moving, fast, north. "Someone has him," he said, voice hard. The mother's hands curled into fists. For the first time, she spoke in clear English. "I will get him back, with or without you." Jace looked at her, impressed. "Then let's do it together." They moved fast. As they left the transport wreck, something sharp struck the wall next to them. A dart. Jace turned and shouted, "Down!" They rolled behind a broken crate. Another dart hissed past. "Poison. Sniper." "They're hunting us," Jace muttered. "They don't want us to find him." The mother activated her blue shield again. "Let them try." She stepped out, raising her arm. Her shield deflected 2 more shots. Jace threw a smoke capsule and they ran through the cover into the ruins. They didn't stop until they reached the edge of a forgotten tunnel entrance half hidden under rubble. Where does it lead? The mother asked. Jace checked his map. Underground, direct path to the north sector. That's where they're taking him. She nodded. They entered the tunnel. The air inside was cold and stale. Pipes dripped. The lights flickered. In the distance, a faint sound. A child's voice. Crying. Mama. Into the forbidden zone. The sound of the child's voice echoed faintly through the underground tunnel. Mama. The alien mother stopped. Her breath caught in her throat. For a moment she forgot how tired she was. Her eyes filled with tears. She whispered his name. Lero. Jace paused beside her, scanning the tunnel. The signal was still weak, but it was moving. Farther and deeper into the zone beneath the city. This place, he said slowly, was locked down after the war. They called it the Forbidden Zone. The mother looked at him. Why? Jace hesitated. Because everyone who went in never came back. She nodded once without fear. Then we must go. The tunnel stretched ahead like a throat of darkness. Rusty pipes lined the walls. Strange alien moss glowed faintly underfoot. Their steps echoed. Every few minutes they heard scuttling noises, too fast to see, too quiet to follow. Jace kept his weapon ready. The mother moved silently beside him, more like a shadow than a person. They were close now. He could feel it. Suddenly, his scanner went dark. What happened? She asked. Jace tapped it. Something's jamming the signal. She raised her head. They don't want us to find him. They continued deeper. After nearly an hour of walking, they reached a huge metal door. It was ancient with claw marks and deep burns. A control panel blinked beside it. Jace stepped forward. Let me try to open it. As he worked on the panel, the mother walked toward the door. Her eyes widened. Her hand touched the surface and a shock of light flowed through it. The door recognized her. With a loud hiss, the door opened slowly. Beyond it was a massive underground chamber, filled with old alien tech, glowing wires and power cores, still pulsing after decades. It wasn't just a forgotten zone. It was a sealed laboratory. This wasn't made for war, Jace whispered. This was something else. She moved forward slowly, then stopped. In the middle of the chamber stood a glowing containment field. Inside it was a child. Lero, she cried, but before she could run to him, a voice rang out, "Stop right there." From the shadows, 6 armed figures stepped out. All wore black gear, their faces hidden behind visors. One of them, a tall woman, lowered her rifle slightly. "You've come far," the woman said, "but this is as far as you go." Jace stepped forward. "You took a child." "Why?" The woman's visor slid up. Her eyes were sharp, cold. "He's not just a child. He's a key." The mother's eyes narrowed. "He is my son." The woman nodded. "And he's the reason this lab still has power. His blood reactivates ancient tech. We've been searching for him for years." Jace's stomach dropped. "You're using him as a power source?" "He's alive, isn't he?" the woman said coldly. "You should thank us." The mother shook with fury. Her voice was low, dangerous. "Let him go." The woman raised her rifle again. "No, and you're not leaving." But before she could fire, the ground shook, loud, violent. An alarm blared. "What now?" Jace asked. The woman cursed. "Someone else is coming." From the far wall, a hidden passage burst open. A second group of raiders, heavily armed. They had followed Jace and the mother. A gunfight exploded. Jace dove behind cover, dragging the mother with him. Bullets and plasma bolts lit up the lab. Sparks rained down. One of the cores exploded. The containment field around Lero flickered. "He's exposed," the mother shouted. Jace pointed to the console. "If we disable the field completely, we can grab him." She nodded and ran, dodging fire like lightning. Jace covered her, firing back at both groups. The mother reached the console and placed Her hand on it, her energy fused with the machine. The field dropped. "Lero," she cried again. The small boy looked up, weak but awake. He reached out. "Mama." She ran to him and pulled him into her arms, but it wasn't over. The woman commander shouted, "Get them! Don't let them escape with the key!" Jace threw a grenade and ran to the mother and child. "We have to go! Now!" The three of them ran to a side passage just as another explosion tore through the lab. They didn't stop running. The tunnel behind them collapsed. Dust and metal rained down. But they didn't look back. When they finally reached a safe place, far from the forbidden zone, the mother collapsed on her knees, holding Lero tightly. He was safe, alive. Jace sat beside them, breathing hard, his heart pounding. "You did it," he said. The mother looked at him with tears in her eyes. "We did it." She looked down at her son, kissed his forehead and whispered, "Never again." But even now, in the distance, one of the surviving soldiers activated a silent signal beacon. And far above, in orbit, something ancient began to stir. The enemy. In the shadows. The sky above Cythera 9 cracked with faint red lightning. The wind was changing, no longer just cold, but carrying a feeling, like something was coming. Far beneath that sky, Jace, the alien mother, and little Lero sat in a hidden cave near the base of a cliff. The mother cradled her son in silence. He was safe for now, but too weak to speak. His eyes fluttered open, then closed again. Jace scanned the cave's entrance for heat signatures. "No one followed," he said. "We're clear, for now." The mother whispered something ancient over Lero, a healing word. Her palms glowed, softly as she passed energy into him. But it was slow. His strength had been drained too much. "He needs rest," she said. "But they will come. Again." Jace nodded. "That soldier activated a beacon. I saw it. They weren't just hunting your son for his blood. He's linked to something bigger." She looked up, her voice tense. "He was born during the collapse, born near an artifact buried under the ruins. They believe he can wake it." Jace stood still. "What artifact?" She looked into his eyes. "A ship. Not built by humans, not by my people either. It sleeps beneath the ice fields. They call it the First Flame, and now they think Lero is the key." Far away, in orbit above Cythera 9, a shadow loomed, a forgotten ship, old, silent, monstrous in size, opened its eyes. Red sensors flared to life. It had received the beacon. Coordinates locked. Engines awoke. Inside the ship, cold machines began to move. Ancient guardians. They had one command: retrieve the child. The hunt had begun. Back on the surface, Jace finished setting up defenses near the cave. Trip mines, motion sensors, a turret he had built from scrap. He returned inside. "We've got maybe 2 hours before they reach us." The mother stood, her strength returning. "Then we don't wait. We move first." Jace raised a brow. "You want to strike?" She nodded. "They hunt us in shadows. Let's bring them into the light." They traveled, through old supply routes. Jace led with his scanner. The mother carried Lero on her back, wrapped in thick fabric. His breathing was steadier now, but just as they neared an abandoned control station, Jace stopped. "Something's wrong." The scanner flashed red. Too late. From the cliffs above, energy nets dropped. One wrapped around Jace, slamming him to the ground. Another caught the mother, forcing her to her knees. She screamed in pain as the net crackled with energy. Figures emerged. Not soldiers, assassins. These were quiet, fast, and deadly, built for capture, not war. Their faces were blank masks, their movements like shadows. One of them reached for Lero. The mother cried out, but her body was still trapped. Jace gritted, his teeth, and reached for his wrist gauntlet. Click. The mines behind them exploded. Flames burst from the rocks. 2 assassins were blown off their feet. Jace rolled and cut through his net with a hidden blade. He grabbed a fallen enemy's weapon and fired. Blue energy tore through the darkness. One mask shattered. He turned to the mother and slashed her net open. "Move!" She got up and shielded, Lero with her body. But more assassins came, 10, maybe 12, surrounding them again. Then the ground trembled. Everyone froze. From the cliffs above, a massive shape dropped. A war machine. Old, rusted, but alive. It had no face, just a burning, red eye and a mouth of spinning blades. It wasn't there to capture, it was there to kill. The assassins backed away. Even they didn't expect it. Jace looked at the mother. "Run!" They ran into the station ruins as the machine tore into the hillside. It crushed steel like paper. Its red eyes scanned wildly. It roared in binary. Target, child, eliminate. Jace shot at it. The blasts bounced off its armor. The mother turned and did something strange. She spoke a word in a forgotten tongue and pressed her hand to the ground. A shockwave burst out. Glowing symbols rose from the dirt, defense runes from her people's past. The machine stumbled. "Now," Jace shouted. "We head for the towers." They sprinted across a bridge of metal beams. Behind them, the machine broke through the ruins, chasing like a nightmare. Jace reached the tower control panel. "If I can override the reactor core here, I can blow the whole station." The mother nodded. "Do it." He worked fast. Sparks flew. Code scrolled on the screen. The machine reached the bridge, too close. Lero woke in his mother's arms. He looked at the monster and raised his hand. A sudden wave of light burst from the child. Time froze. The machine stopped mid-step. Its red eye dimmed, then it collapsed, shut down completely. Silence. Jace stared. "What just happened?" The mother looked at her son. "He's more than they think. He's not a key, he's a guardian." In orbit, the ancient ship blinked again. Its systems had registered the child's power. And now, it would come down to get him itself. The voice in the wind. The machine lay in ruins. The red eye no longer glowed. Sparks hissed from its joints. Around it, the battlefield was silent. Jace stared at the child in shock. What did he do? The alien mother cradled Lero gently. Her voice was soft, awed. He spoke to it, and it obeyed. Lero's tiny hand dropped to his side, his breathing tired again. Whatever power had come from him, it had cost him. Jace stepped closer, slowly. "I thought he was just special, but this is something else." The mother didn't answer. Her eyes were fixed on the sky, because above them the clouds had parted, and something massive moved behind the sunless sky. The moment Lero's light reached into the machine, it also echoed into space. Far above Sethuran 9, the forgotten ship, the one the mother called the First Flame, had fully awakened. Alarms flashed across its dark bridge. Alien codes pulsed across ancient panels, and from its core, a voice began to whisper across the galaxy. Not loud, not angry, but ancient, timeless, calling. It didn't speak in language. It spoke in memory, in pressure, in instinct, and Lero heard it. Even now, in his mother's arms, half-conscious, the boy whispered words he shouldn't know. "They are coming." The trio took shelter in a communications outpost buried under ice, abandoned decades ago. The mother tried to heal her son again. Her glow was brighter this time, deeper, fueled by desperation. Jace worked quickly at the control console, trying to find out who else might be listening, but instead of signals, he picked up a strange transmission. Faint, broken, but clear, enough. A voice, one word repeated. "Return, return, return." He checked the frequency. "It's coming from orbit," he said slowly. "From the First Flame." The mother's face grew pale. "They want him back." Jace looked at her. "Back? He's never been there." She looked down at Lero. "He has, not in body, but in origin. That ship didn't just sleep for centuries. It waited for him. It knew he would come. They think he's one of theirs." Jace felt his chest tighten. But he's not. He's your son. She nodded. Born of my blood, but touched by something older. Something that chose him. Outside, the wind picked up. The ice cracked beneath their shelter. The sky darkened. Again, not with clouds, but with shadow. It arrived. The first flame descended into Cythera's atmosphere. Its engines didn't roar. They hummed with deep energy, like the sound of oceans folding in on themselves. The sky bled gold and red. Cities far away lit up in warning. Inside the outpost, Lero stirred again. His eyes opened. This time, they glowed faintly. His voice was calm, far too calm for a child. "They are not here to hurt me," he said. "They want to take me. To finish what they began." The mother stepped back, heart pounding. "No. No, you are mine. You are not theirs." Lero looked at her, and for a moment his expression wasn't his own, it was ancient, endless. "I was made for more." Then his glow faded. He slumped, just a tired child again. Jace gritted his teeth. "We're not letting them take him." But, as he spoke, the earth shook again. A beam of light, soft and golden, fell from the clouds above. It struck the center of the valley nearby, forming a pillar of warmth and strange music. Jace scanned it. "They just opened a portal. For him," the mother whispered. "No," Jace said. "For us. It's bait." Suddenly, the outpost's alarms went off. Figures were approaching, not machines this time. Living soldiers, alien, tall, armored, silent. Not from the first flame, not from the Empire either. Another group. The Collectors. They were known in whispers across galaxies, taking rare beings, rare power, and locking them away, preserving them in stasis. Forever. Jace's eyes widened. "They're not with the ship. They're after the boy, too." The mother held Lero close. "Then they die first." Outside, the Collectors moved in. Formation. 10, 20, then more. Their cloaks fluttered like smoke. Their weapons shimmered with energy unknown to Earth tech. Jace finished setting charges around the entrance. "We make our stand here." But Lero spoke again. "No. You have to take me to the portal. If I go there, I can close the call. I can make the ship sleep again." The mother's hands shook. "I can't lose you." "You won't," he said softly. "But if I don't go, they'll keep coming. More shadows, more machines, more death." Jace looked at the mother. "He's right. He's not just a child anymore. He's the signal and the silence." The mother knelt before her son. She placed her forehead against his. "Then I walk with you. Whatever waits beyond that light, we face it together." Jace nodded. "Let's end this." They escaped through a secret passage under the outpost. Behind them, the Collectors broke into the room, only to trigger the charges Jace left behind. The mountain shook. Flames swallowed the cold, but the trio ran forward, toward the glowing beam in the valley, toward the voice in the wind, toward the place where destiny would be decided. The fire and the fall. The valley burned gold and red. At its center, the beam of light from the sky shimmered like a column of fire. Wind spun around it, not natural, like a storm made from voices and memory. It whispered in every direction, words no one taught, words no one should know. Jace, the alien mother, and her son Lero stood at the edge of the beam. Behind them, the mountain outpost was gone, swallowed by fire after Jace's explosives delayed the Collector army. But not for long. "They're coming again," Jace said, scanning the hills. 10 minutes, maybe less. The mother knelt, brushing the ash from her son's hair. Lero was awake now, fully. His small hands no longer trembled. His eyes were clear. "I know what I must do," he said softly. The mother held his face gently. "You are not their weapon." "I'm more than that," Lero whispered. "I'm a voice they never expected." The beam pulsed. It was waiting. Jace looked up at the sky. The first flame hovered above the clouds, its form barely visible but massive, like a floating mountain alive and watching. From it, cables had begun to fall. Glowing, spiraling, reaching. They didn't touch the ground, not yet. They waited too. The ship didn't want to destroy. It wanted to take. Take Lero. Take his light. Take control. Suddenly, the earth behind them cracked. A collector transport ship dropped down like thunder, engines roaring. Doors hissed open. Dozens of armored beings stormed out, aiming weapons at the trio. Jace aimed his rifle. "We hold them." The lead collector stepped forward. "No. Mask, just glowing skin and a hollow voice. Give us the child. He is too dangerous to remain free." The mother raised her arm. Her shield activated. "He is not yours." The collector looked at Lero. "He is no longer yours either." Lero stepped forward. "You're all wrong." Then, fire. From the sky. A second ship dropped. Not a collector craft, not human. This one was from the first flame itself. It opened like a blooming flower, petals of steel and light, and from its center floated a being of pure white energy. No face, no words, just presence. Jay stepped back. "That's not a person." "No," the mother whispered. "That is the memory of the ship itself, a guide or a jailer." The white being moved toward Lero. The light around the boy pulled toward it, like a river flowing uphill. Lero stood, his ground. He lifted his hand, and the beam of light behind him bent, turned, changed color, from gold to deep blue. A sound cracked the air, like a scream without voice. The collectors stepped back. Their weapons malfunctioned. One by one, their suits collapsed inward. The ship being hesitated. Jace watched with wide eyes. He's not going with them. He's controlling them. "No," the mother said. "He's freeing himself." But power has a cost. The valley floor shattered. The ground split open, revealing what had been buried beneath for centuries. An ancient core, glowing with unreadable script, alive and pulsing. It was the heart of the first flame. It had been beneath them all along, and now Lero was waking it up. "Is this safe?" Jace shouted. The mother didn't answer. She couldn't, because now the wind stopped, and everything went still. Lero floated upward, surrounded by symbols. His voice echoed, not as a boy, but as something ancient and new at the same time. "I am not yours. I am not theirs. I am mine." The white being from the ship screamed. Its body shattered into threads of light. The collector ship exploded. The cables from the sky recoiled, and the first flame moved, not to land, to fall, straight toward the valley. Jace shouted, "Run!" But the mother didn't move. She looked up, holding her arms wide, and screamed one word in her own language, one that shattered the stones around her. The ground lifted. Lero dropped into her arms, and the valley exploded. Everything went black. Hours later, the ash settled. The storm was gone. Jace woke up beneath a piece of wreckage, coughing. His ribs ached. His armor was cracked. He looked around. No more cables. No more collectors. No first flame. The sky was clear. He stood. Then he saw them. The mother, sitting in the middle of the wreckage, holding Lero in her arms, both alive. But something had changed. The child's glow was gone. He looked like any child now. Normal. Still. "What happened?" Jace asked. The mother looked at him with tired but peaceful eyes. "He gave up the voice," she said. "The flame is gone." But then, in the wind, Jace heard something strange. Not a threat, not a word, just a soft hum, a piece of the child's light carried far away into the sky. The first flame had fallen, but something else had risen in its place. A new bond is born. The world was quiet. For the first time since their journey began, no voices whispered from the skies. No machines crawled through shadows. No collectors stalked from the hills. Just still air, soft light, and the smell of ash and rain. Cythera 9 was free, but it had paid a heavy price. Jace walked carefully through the shattered valley, past the remains of the collector ship, past the scattered pieces of broken cables from the first flame. He passed glowing blue dust that once formed the being of pure energy, and then he saw them, at the center of everything. The alien mother sat under the broken arch of a stone monument. Her arms were wrapped gently around Lero, who slept in her lap. No more glow, no more ancient light. Just a sleeping child, chest rising and falling peacefully. Jace knelt beside them. "You did it," he said quietly. The mother looked at him. Her face was marked with tears, but also strength. "We did it." Jace looked at Lero. "Is he okay?" She nodded. He chose to give it up, all of it, the voice, the fire, the power. Jace frowned. "But why?" She looked down at her son, brushing his hair aside. "Because he wanted to be a child again, not a weapon, not a key, just mine." In orbit, the remains of the first flame drifted silently. Its core was dark. Its purpose lost. Without the child's signal, it no longer remembered what it was for. And that was good. Some doors are better left closed. They made camp at the edge of a quiet lake, far from the battle-scarred valley. Jace fixed a solar dish to boil clean water. The mother sang softly in her language, a song only her people remembered. Lero woke slowly that night, blinking up at the stars. He reached out a hand to the sky, then pulled it back and smiled. "I don't hear them anymore," he said. "You don't need to," his mother whispered, hugging him. Jace sat alone by the fire, lost in thought. He had come to this planet to fix broken machines, not rescue alien children or fight against ancient ships. And yet, here he was. The mother joined him, holding a warm cup in her hands. "You could leave now," she said. He nodded. "I could." She looked into the fire. "But you won't." He gave a soft laugh. "No, I won't." She turned to him. "Why?" He looked at her, truly looked at her now. Not as an alien, not as someone different, but as someone strong, someone beautiful, someone who had fought harder than anyone he had ever known. "Because my place is here," he said, "with both of you." The next morning, a council ship from her people arrived. Finally, responding to her long-dead distress beacon. They brought supplies, medicine, and word from her old village. But the most important thing they brought was a question. Who is the human? The mother looked at Jace. Lero ran up to him, holding his hand, and she answered without pause. "He's family." Weeks passed. The valley grew quiet again. Grass returned. Snow melted. Machines stopped searching. Jace helped rebuild outposts and homes. He built a comm tower that spoke only to the stars, but this time not to call for war or trade, just stories. Lero sat in his lap every night, asking questions about Earth, about old myths, about stars he might one day visit. And beside them, the mother watched with a quiet joy that no power could ever give, not even the flame. But far beyond the galaxy where no light reaches, a tiny spark drifted in darkness. It pulsed once, faintly. A memory of a boy who said no to power. A seed, waiting, not for war, but for hope. The end.